Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Keedex number Easy Loader, or Easy Load. This is a spring and driver reloading tool. I've never used this before. I have had to reload countless cylinder plugs and Bibles in my career, and I had a client order this, and I am testing it prior to shipping it to the client. Okay. I certainly get the concept of how this is going to work, but before we start to demonstrate it, here's the balance of what's on the label. Easy Load, Spring and Driver Reloading Tool. Okay. I'm going to give you the dimensional properties first because that'll be important to know what its diameter is, because there are different effective plug diameter systems, of course, with 0.5 being probably the most common. My caliper tells me this is 0.502. This is as close to half of an inch as can possibly be. My needle is slightly heavy. Its overall length, about 3 inch. It's got a couple of spring-loaded bearings inside of here. Okay. Now, what is it used for? The concept of this is to assist and aid you in placing back into the Bible of the cylinder the springs and then top or driver pins. You can, when you're rekeying a cylinder, if you pull your plug follower out, everything jumps out at you. Especially happens to people who aren't locksmiths, but they do their own type of locksmithing on hand, meaning they will do some occasional key work. They possess the knowledge and skill set and tools to do it, but don't do it in the pursuit of making a living. So this sort of tool, I understand, is to assist people in that process of reloading everything back into the Bible of the cylinder housing or the cylinder housing. And we're going to demonstrate that. I've never used it, but reloading a Bible with its pins and springs and pins, while is certainly not a difficult task, it's kind of a drag when you have to do it because you're in a good roll, you've got 70 cylinders to key, and you seem to blow one up every 10 cylinders, and now you got to stop and take 2 minutes. And part of the reason of me demonstrating this for the first time without me ever having used it is because I literally want to record whether or not the tool is worthwhile. So I have a cylinder. This is for a deadbolt. I'm going to remove the screw that holds the cylinder into the casing for the deadbolt. Okay, now, I've said the term Bible a couple of times. Literally, this vertical area here is termed the Bible. That's what it's called. That's a locksmithing term, amongst other. But in the terms of, in relationship to locksmithing, this area here is called the Bible. Inside of here are those chambers or holes drilled where your springs and then your top or driver pins are housed. Okay. The purpose of this tool is to assist you in reloading the Bible. So what we're going to do is I'm going to remove the tailpiece on the back just to get ourselves ready to demonstrate the tool. And if it's a fail, it's a fail, but we'll at least know from first-hand knowledge without having practiced use of the tool in the past. So I've got the threaded cap and the tailpiece, the pin and the pin spring removed. So right now, if I put that key in and I turn it, this happens to be an O-bitted or a zero-bitted key. If I were to put that in there and I were to push my plug completely out, all of my springs and my top pins, they're going to fly. So I'm going to literally do that, but I'm going to kind of control it so I don't lose anything. I've got my hand on the back of it to really prevent stuff from. You may have heard some of that. Well, the mess I'm left with is all that pile of springs and driver pins. So if you're new to locksmithing, and people will come in with a box of parts and say, I blew it up, and that's what they mean. I blew it up. So this is a there are, I believe, 6 cuts on this key, and I've dumped all my parts out. There are indeed 6 springs and 6 driver pins. There are indeed. Now, what's really important when you do this work is that you remember, not aside from using this tool, you remember what the front of the cylinder is. You're going to notice that this has a different profile on the back than it does the front. You need to remind yourself, and sometimes if you're new to it, put a mark. Get your little Sharpie and put a mark right on the face so that you already know what it is. I have a system that I use, my age-worn plug follower. I always, and without exception, use this end for the front of the plug, and I don't use that end for the front of the plug, so that if I forget what the orientation of the front of the plug is, because some cylinders, they appear to be utterly symmetrical, but they're not symmetrical because they're not symmetrical in the sense of where the pins or the chambers are drilled, because the dimension from the stop, and this is a shoulder stopped key, to the first cut is X. The center to center cut of every cut is then Y. Those are 2 different dimensions. I'm actually not aware, and there may be, I'm just not aware of a system that has a shoulder to first cut dimension and then subsequent center to centers as the same dimension. So you need to know what's the front of the cylinder, because it ain't going to be the same on the measuring it front to back. So I memorized the fact that this little shoulder is the back of the cylinder. That's the front. So the way I understand the way that this tool works is you're going to insert your easy loading tool, insert it into the back of the cylinder, and I'm going to use that spring-loaded pin to lock it into I'm going to lock it into that little hole that's back there. The problem is, okay, so that's not going to work. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to insert your plug follower, your easy loader tool. You're going to click that into the first hole, the first chamber. In this case, what would be the 6th chamber. Now it's not going to fall. Now when I look down in there, I can see my 5 exposed holes. If you were to pause this video or study it, there are 5. The 5th one you can't see because it's too dark inside of there. But if I tug this out a little bit, now you're not going to see it. But there's 5 that are exposed there. And I've got that bearing resting in the 6th. The concept of how this tool is supposed to work, and the way that I've seen it demonstrated, is that people have literally just dropped a spring into the assembly, and that it's gone right into the hole that you want. Okay, so I'm going to literally try to demonstrate that. Okay, so you're not able to see that on the camera. I dropped the spring into the housing, and it's laying there. And all I did was tip it up and shook it. And sure enough, it found its way home. Okay, so that's cool. That actually is a time saver. Drop that in there. Wow. It's gone. And that's because it's in the hole. Okay? Let's do that again. I'm going to drop it in there. I'm just going to drop it. You can see it laying there. I've got to hold it up to shake it. It's gone. I'll be damned. It's in the right hole. Done. It's literally in the right hole. I have been blowing up cylinders for a long time. I have never seen that happen before. So I tipped it out. I tipped it the other way and it fell out naturally. Tipped it back over. I'm going to drop a pin in there now. Just a driver pin. You can see it laying there. Okay, it set it up. It definitely set it into the hole. My goodness. So what I would do in this case, because it's not going to go down in the hole, I'm going to come in with a tool and I'm going to push that down. I'm going to get my fingers out of the way. I just shook it. I'm going to push it down. The reason this is failing is because I'm trying to demonstrate it simultaneously. I'm going to push it down. Forgive me, the only reason this is cantankerous is because I'm trying to demonstrate it. I'm going to drop it in. I'm going to tip it forward. It sets it up for me. I'm going to push the pin down because I want to advance the plug follower forward. I'm just going to insert my tool in here. I'm going to click it one stop forward. Now I'm done. It's trapped in there. It's found where it has to go. I am absolutely... I missed one of my pins. Here it is. I am pleasantly surprised. I have used tools from Keedex in the past, and I thought, oh, is that really a time saver? Turns out, not only with this plug follower, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to drop it in vertically, because I think that's what needs to happen, so that it gets into... It's gone. It's already gone. By the time I tip it forward, I'm going to drop it in this way. We know that it's going to be laying there. It's already gone. By the time I've tipped it down, it's already seated into the hole. You can kind of see the top of the spring popping out there. I'm going to attribute that to be... I've rotated it over so it would fall out. I'm going to tip it forward. You can see where it is. Tip it vertical. It's already gone. It's in the hole. I'm going to attribute that to be because of the bird's mouth preparation, so that when I stand that puppy up, it has no opportunity to sit any other direction than like that. And it's set, ready to go. And then when I tip it forward, it just slides into the hole. I am pleasantly amazed. I'm going to put in a driver pin. Just going to drop it in vertically. I'm going to look at it. Yep. So when you know what I'll do? I'm going to show it to you this way so it can't fall in, and the spring will probably is going to fall out. But that pin sits like I just said. It sits in that bird's mouth. So I'm going to turn it all over. And sure enough, it seats right in there. I'll be damned. I love it. Keedex. Another great job by Keedex. I'm going to push it down. I'm going to advance it. I'm going to drop another pin. I did 2, 3, 4. I think I'm missing one. Yeah, I clicked it one too many over. Now, so I did the 5th, the 4th. Now I'm doing the 3rd. I'm dropping it in. I'm tipping it forward. It's gone. I'm dropping it in. I'm tipping it forward. It's seated. I'm going to come in with my tool. Advance it one chamber. I'm going to drop in my pin. I'm going to tip it forward. It's gone. It's gone. It's in the hole. Next one. Get it to seat in that bird's mouth. It's seated properly. I'm going to depress it with my tool. I'm doing my last one. That'll be easy to see. Place it right there. Now you can really... It's already slipped into the hole. I'm going to place it here. It's already seated. Now, if you recall, we couldn't do the 6th chamber because I had to use that bearing to seat in the 6th chamber. Well, here's what you do. Slide it from the other side. Carefully. It's seated now into the 5th chamber because this is the back of the cylinder. I place my spring there. It fell in. You saw it that time. You saw it fall in that time. Here's my final pin. Drop that there. You can see it's seated. Yeah, it's done. I'll be hornswaddled. I love it. That is amazing. Would I buy the tool? Yes, I would. Hands down. Would I use it every time? I might. I might not. Because the process of otherwise reloading your exploded driver pins, springs and driver pins, is I would push this halfway through the back of the plug, take my tweezers, I would get it in the cylinder plug and I drop it in. Then I would get my driver pin, go to that third chamber, I would then put force on the plug. Once I got the pin halfway in, I would put force, and that hurts the finger. I would put force on the plug follower, then I'd push it all the way down and then advance to the next one. The problem with that is it does take more time to do it. You are more prone to unintentionally exploding something. Your ability to have to reload them quickly is compromised. And the real reason that I would buy the tool is because you routinely need to dump all of the drivers and the springs. Because why? Customer comes in. I need this rekeyed. The old tenant, they're gone. I need it rekeyed. You've got 5 cylinders to do. What are you going to do? Well, the customer comes in and says, key it to this key. Okay. You can take the old key, you can dump those driver pins out, those bottom pins out, put the new key in the plug, pin it up. You're right as rain. Here's what you've not done. You've not eliminated all of the other unintentional change keys, the incidental change keys that are created, because you've not checked to confirm that there are or are not master wafers still in play in the cylinder. So if you've not checked for master wafers, then you have the other theoretical possibility of other change keys working. So the Keedex tool comes into play because if you're doing locksmithing properly, you're dumping all of that anyway. And this tool, absolutely. And I've been keying locks for 30 years, longer. I could key locks before I could legally drive a car. And the age was 16 then. And I can tell you that this will save time. And in fact, now that I'm hearing myself talk about it, I would absolutely use the tool, because got a guy at the counter, someone waiting on you. You've got 5 more lock jobs to do. You got all this work to do. Seconds count. It's an amazing tool. Great job to Keedex. I love it. I love it. So now I've got this rotated. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load my cylinder plug back with its 0 pins. And I'm doing it left-handed. I've keyed locks so many times I literally have taught myself to do it left and right-handed just for the sake of keeping the mind engaged on what you're doing. 20 years ago I said, you know what, I'm bored of doing this. I'm going to teach myself how to do it opposite-handed. Now I'm just going to put this all back together like you normally would, using this still as the plug follower. Get a little resistance from that spring-loaded ball bearing that's there. I'm just going to put my finger on the pin so they don't jump. I'm just going to give it a little push. I'm going to continue to slide. I am perfect. Well done, Keedex. Well done. I would absolutely buy the tool. Absolutely. There is, finally, a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Keedex products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you know the name Keedex, you might know them for locksmithing tools. I know them for some of their locksmithing tools, but obviously not all of them. If you know their name, you know their name for probably their weldable gate boxes. They have a comprehensive offering of all things weldable gate box. What that means is if you are building a structure, a gate structure, and you need to add a lock to it, they manufacture products that will allow you to attach the gate box to your overall assemblage, your structure, then add the lock directly to it. Way less costly than you manufacturing your own gate box. Hands down. No question about that. They make them in steel, stainless, aluminum. They make them for countless locks, dozens of different locks. They make blank ones in case you happen to have the last one that someone needed was some sort of a best electrified, Wi-Fi compliant mortise case with really odd function holes. And no, Keedex doesn't have that lockbox, but they have a blank one. At least it gets you started. And also Keedex does wire transfer loops, 1/4, 3/8 flex with mounting brackets to transfer low voltage from the frame to the door, the ceiling to the header, things of that nature, and they do a great job with that. 2 thumbs up, Keedex. I love it. I love it, love it. I love it. I was in doubt. In doubt. I was denying them the success. Well done. Any questions on the Keedex Easy Load or Easy Loader, or any other tool that I can experiment first and then let you watch the reaction, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.